What's going on YouTube? Damon here, and if you're new around here, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more honest game reviews. Now, let's be real, Dragon Age Veilguard, controversial doesn't even begin to cover it. You've heard the buzz, the debates, and as a Dragon Age fan and just someone who loves a good game, I knew I had to play it. So I played Dragon Age Veilguard from character creation to credits, so you wouldn't have to. Was it a success or a waste of time? Let's jump right into it and see how it turned out. Alright, so you decided to brave Veilguard with me. Step 1 is to create your Veilguard protagonist, and character creation is where our journey truly begins. Race selection is pretty standard. We've got elves, Kunari, humans, and dwarves. No major surprises here, each with their own lore and starting flavor. If you're a series veteran, you'll feel right at home, and if you're new, it's a decent starting point to define your hero's background in Thetis. Now, visually, this is where things get, let's say, interesting. Veilguard definitely has a distinct art style, and it's immediately apparent in the character creation. You've got a wide range of sliders and options to tweak, from bone structure to makeup. You can absolutely create a character that looks like, well, let's say unique, and some might even say very unique. And this is where we start to see some of the online discussion come into play. There's been talk about the visual direction of Veilguard, and the character models are definitely part of that conversation. Some players are loving the more stylized look, praising the expressiveness and detail, while others are finding it a bit of a departure from what they've expected and perhaps even less appealing. Personally, I just spent my time trying to make my character's face look close to mine without having to dig too deep into all the customization. But I can also see where the criticisms are coming from. The style is bold and it's certainly, different. Ultimately, I landed on an elf mage that looked similar to me, and for me, this was good enough to jump into the game. And speaking of jumping into the game, let's talk about the initial gameplay experience. Veilguard throws you right into a standard tutorial running through controls, combat, and dialogue. If you're an RPG player, especially Dragon Age, you'll pick up quite fast. Early combat focuses on learning the mechanics, your abilities, how encounters play out. It's all about getting you up to speed. Exploration in these starting areas is pretty linear, guiding you along the main path. You'll meet NPCs, get your first quest, and get a sense of the world's vibe. It's serviceable for setting the stage, but does it make you want to explore every corner? We'll see. So initial gameplay, it was a mixed bag for me. Combat mechanics are responsive, visually flashy, and the game gets you moving quickly. But something felt off. Maybe it was the initial dialogue, the voice acting, I'm not sure. It lacked that immediate hook some RPGs nail right away. Functional, yes. Immediately captivating, not quite. Let's talk Veilguard's storyline start to finish. If one word defines it, it's pacing. It's a slow burn made worse by the writing. Buckle up because this narrative takes its sweet time and the script doesn't help. Right from the beginning, Veilguard is all about world building, character introductions, and endless companion quests. For roughly 40 to 60% of the game, the main story crawls, buried under companion errands and faction building. But here's the real problem. The writing in these quests. It just doesn't make you care. Dialogue feels surface level, you're doing tasks for companions, not connecting with them. Alliance building feels, transactional, not emotional. Then finally, things ramp up. Final act, high stakes, urgent missions. Game shifts to high gear. But even in the end game, the writing still falters. It often feels like you, the player character, are just along for the ride. Story happens around you, not because of you. Dialogue choices feel less impactful on the main plot. It's like you're a supporting character in someone else's story, even though you're supposed to be the hero. Slow burn pacing and weak writing. That's a tough one. Slow build-up can work, but the script needed to make the journey engaging. Instead, the writing often undermines investment. Companion dialogue doesn't grab you, player characters feel sidelined, emotional payoff delayed in the main story, and underdeveloped in companion stories. Urgency and gripping moments are still crammed into the final hours. Disjointed experience made worse by writing that keeps you at arm's length from the character and the plot's core. Long time in low gear, then suddenly max intensity, hoping you suddenly care about characters and a story you haven't truly been part of. Now let's talk about your companions. Veilguard brings us a fresh team, each with their own distinct flavor. We've got Bellara, the enigmatic Veil-Jumper Mage, Davrin, the steadfast Grey Warden Warrior, Emmerich, the brooding Morn Watcher Mage, and fan favorite Harding, returning as an Inquisition Agent Rogue. Then there's Lucanus, the cunning Antivan Crow Rogue, Neve, the powerful Shadow Dragon Mage, and Tosh, the formidable Lord of Fortune Warrior. Visually, they all fit within Veilguard's unique style, and in gameplay, each bring their own skills and combat role to the party. Well, let's turn our attention to one companion who's been a particular point of conversation, Tosh. Now, when spending time with Tosh, I personally experienced moments where their dialogue felt somewhat checkbox driven. There were instances where conversations seemed to touch on certain topics in a way that felt more like fulfilling a list of themes rather than organically arising from the character or the situation at hand. This, for me, occasionally made interactions feel less fully realized and more like they were serving a specific agenda. But looking at the Veilguard companion as a whole, it's a mixed bag in terms of character writing, and certainly in how they're resonated with the wider Dragon Age community. While each companion is visually distinct and offers unique gameplay, for me, and for many others, the writing and overall character development doesn't consistently hit the mark. They have roles to play, but they don't quite become the truly standout companions that Dragon Age is known for. Alright, final thoughts on Dragon Age the Veilguard. Was it worth playing? What's my overall verdict? It's an okay game. You see glimmers of classic Dragon Age, but ultimately, it doesn't feel like it was aimed at die-hard fans. Pacing and character writing are key weaknesses. Dedicated Dragon Age fans might, and I mean might, find something to appreciate, especially if you prioritize combat or world exploration. But if you crave a consistently engaging narrative RPG with strong characters, it's likely disappointing. New to Dragon Age? Start somewhere else. Begin with Origins or Inquisition. As a fan, I felt I needed to experience it, but for pure enjoyment, it was underwhelming. That's my take. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe for more honest reviews. Thank you for watching.